hopefully be rolling out a little early.
Yeah, I'm gone. No, the 27th. Well, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, I get that. I'm very excited.
We're going to top the list or the bottom of the list?
I was very glad and I think you
didn't respond back to me.
Well, you did yourself.
Respond back in the last 5 minutes.
This was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Do you
You
realize?
want to be on the not responded back list.
Yeah. No, do you realize you're on the committee now?
Will be tonight.
You are. You are.
You called him, you didn't call me.
I told you in the meeting. That you were
I know, but I'm-
You put me on.
No, you were here. You weren't here.
Oh.
Yeah.
You smile, not your.
If you're not here, you get on the committee. Actually, you and Melissa and I were the only ones not on the committee. Everybody else is over.
Okay, this way you can get off on this side. That was intentional. Sorry.
Sir, you want that back? Talk about it. I responded.
I didn't know you were gonna be here. I was brought that lunch. Oh, she just called you.
I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have it. I got it back because it was the right thing to do was to give it back. So it's on my desk.
Okay, I'll stop. I have to come up to the bank tomorrow at lunch anyways.
Okay, it's on my desk. Even Sandy knows where it's at. So she wrote her name wrong on the envelope.
We're gonna start this evening. We're kind of just gonna let Dean go first because he's not able to stay. He just wants to remind us all about something coming up next week. So, Dean?
I changed my mind. First, I want to tell you about my new Chinese word, lettuce, Lettuce, and my good fortune. Example is not the main thing, and influencing others is the only thing.
Very good,
At your last meeting, Mr. Inskip informed you about the Fairfield Historical Society having our kickoff meeting on April 20th. It is going to be called The Schools of Fairfield's Past. This is a copy of a press release that was in the paper, in the Gettysburg Times paper. And I think you were all here except the Gettysburg Times. But she had an excused absence. She was in New York with her husband on business.
And Dean takes roll, so as long as you've got an excused absence, you're good. All of that.
And I don't really have anything more to add, so you should not want to. You should come to that.
Yeah, we would love for you to come.
And you should probably let all your students know, because I'm sure they would be excited to learn about this history of our school district.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Toodaloo. Toodaloo.
Okay, we're going into, the budget.
Okay, at your places are just three fairly small, there's two small PowerPoint slides that I added to the presentation, which we'll view the whole thing again on Monday, but for tonight, I just wanted to review these three slides as they relate to our discussion at the last budget workshop regarding capital projects. So if you look at the slide, it says 15-16 remaining capital projects. And I just want to reiterate what's still outstanding this year and then going forward. We have the $12,000 to replace those exterior doors. However, Mr. Kessel did find out that a buzzer system could be used to solve that immediate problem. It can have a timer, it can be activated certain times of the day or after a certain length of time that the door is open. And he thinks that that could be done at a not to exceed cost of $2,000. Pardon me? For the door, for everything that we, both doors. Now, that leaves us $10,000 from that project that's already in this year's budget. And my recommendation is use that to offset the cost of the heaters that we know we need, but they're not in this year's budget. So that would, of that 16,000, that would cover 10 of that. And we can purchase them perhaps in this year, and then as you see when we go forward, get them installed next year. So, yes. Of course, we still have phase one of the auditorium sound system out there, the auditorium light system, seal coating the driveways, the high school gym wall mats, and about 37 in technology purchases that have not been done yet. If we look ahead to the next slide where it's
Carolyn, but this money has already been set aside. We have this money to do this with.
yes, a matter of, deciding to do those or maybe reprioritizing. I just want you to see what's still there and going forward so you can look at the whole picture before you make decisions.
But that's all been all pre-approved and everything.
Yes. The 16-17 capital projects that we discussed last week that you wanted added to the current budget, the 16-17 budget. As I recall, it was the $14,000 to install the heaters. You really don't have a choice on those. It was $82,000 for Mrs. Van Meter to overhaul the chiller. It was $6,000 to clean and repair all the stage curtains, $3,000 for all bleacher inspections, $22,000 for NVR and installation, and if you recall, that's the cameras. We already own them. We'd like to get them up and cable run and everything ready. $200,000 to restore a portion of the roof, and $2,500 for some maintenance equipment. The total of those items is $329,500, which would increase the overall projected deficit that I showed you at the last meeting to $613,593. Allowing that to digest quickly. 16-17, the proposed capital projects that we did not put in. Again, this is because I don't want to lose sight of these. The high school gym painting, the $15,000 is an estimate. Mr. Kessel is working on getting an exact number. However, I want you to know that the lobby actually is done. When we looked at this document last, it said high school gym / lobby, but the lobby was actually done by our folks in-house. $20,000 for phase 2 of the auditorium sound system, elementary carpet, maintenance building door operators, a mower replacement, a truck replacement, further seal coating more of the driveways, and then $60,000 for structural spray of the track. If you recall at the last meeting, you told me to put that in. I didn't. It's on the proposed capital projects not included because Mr. Kessel investigated that in a lot more detail and has determined that it's too far gone to seal coat. So we would have to replace that track at an estimated potential cost of, Mr. Kessel,
If we do the new surface, which would be just the rubber surface with the spray, the last quote I had on that was about 147. And we won't be able to determine the condition of the asphalt probably until we remove the existing rubber surface, which won't take much because that's the problem. It's feeling up if you look under one.
And how, with that projection, is that actually fixing the track so it slants the right direction?
The reason the track slants the opposite direction now is because we have no drainage. Typically, a track slants towards the football field, let's say. But because we didn't spend money back on the track with drainage in there, we sloped the other way to try to keep the water off it and off the football field.
so I didn't add the 60,000, because I felt that it's not a valid cost, it's not a valid projection, so it's not included. Now, should the board at our next workshop decide, to look at the 147,000, whatever you prioritize, at that point, then I could put it back in or leave it out.
If that asphalt is bad and the whole thing needs to be done, what was the price on that?
About 215, let's say.
What about the regrade and your price?
I don't have that when you put drainage and everything in. I didn't even get into that portion of it.
We should probably know what the whole total cost of the project would be, so we know.
The re-blacktop, to redo the rubber, sloping it the way it is now was about 215. That price was probably over a year ago. So we might look at 220. And if we
Why
look at the drainage,
Would it make sense to do it right?
That's why we're doing the total project.
Yeah.
I guess it's all how you look at it. I mean, is it right or is it wrong? Is it going to slope in or is it going to slope out?
If it slopes out, it runs away, drains away from the inside lanes where most runners run. They don't run in the outside lanes.
I don't know that it's that much of a slope that it's noticeable. I don't run it. Maybe it is. But to do it right, yeah, that would be a big deal. If once you put the blacktop down, you can slope it down. But if you're going to do that, then we ought to have drainage. And then you get into probably another drainage all the way around that track. I'm just guessing, I don't know, 30, 40 grand probably. So we might be in the neighborhood of, 280, do everything. Expensive sport.
Is that drainage causing the asphalt to break up or whatever's going on with that though?
No, what's causing that is because when I asked him about that, you mean the crack that's right at the rubber, where the rubber and the asphalt meet, there's a crack there?
There is a crack there. I did see that, but I thought if the drainage was causing the problem that the track would not hold up,
No.
there's no sense in spending
That's not what
150,000 or
caused that.
250,000 also. That's
What
the problem.
caused that is because the rubber and the asphalt both contract and expand at different rates, is what they explained to me when that happened. And that's why it cracked right at that particular point. And it's a pretty good crack the whole way around, right, where those two come together, which that could be sealed and filled, without overlaying the whole track. Like that's what we take, we overlay the entire track, new asphalt, new rubber, reline.
Well, we should understand the total cost of the project, just so we know what it is. And we can decide which way to go with it.
Okay.
So those are what we discussed at the last meeting. That's what the new total is. And at the next budget workshop, which is Monday night, those will be in the new numbers you see. These slides will be in the presentation. And then I think at that time, we'll have maybe a technology number put in there. And you'll be able to look at everything and start your discussion.
Can you ask Howie a question about the exterior doors?
Sure.
What's the, Howie, can you articulate what the difference is in the end result of the project, whether you replace the doors or you just put the blinders on? I'm just unclear on that.
The problem lying with the doors right now is the fact that and it's not something that's terribly wrong with the doors. It's just the way the doors function. There's a little latch up the top. Some kids have figured out, now when they push that panic bar down, they put the finger up there, that latch will stay up, and then the door doesn't shut, or they pop it open. The doors themselves are old. They were not replaced at the building project, that particular set and the set down by the gym. Are they workable for a few more years? Yes, they are. The buzzer we can put on and tie it into our existing Galaxy system, which is our fob system and our camera system. I talked with Blessner the other day, and they told me that should not be a problem to do that. It's a matter of putting some contacts on the doors, putting some kind of an audible alarm right there, and then we can program that into the system just like we can the fobs, let people in at certain times. That if that door, let's say we wanted to program it from say 8 to 4, and during that 8 to 4 span, if that door would be propped open, that contact would be broken for whatever time we said, it could be a minute, it could be 2 minutes, then that audible alarm would sound. And somebody, of course, would hopefully be alerted and go out and, take care of it.
Okay.
Well, I don't remember if you were here when I did, the comments from the committee that didn't buy it. They actually thought the doors were fine. They actually recommended putting another set on the interior of the vestibule that only open out, so that when they go shut, nobody gets back in.
That's what I thought the difference in the cost of the project was.
Yeah, these doors would stay in place. They suggested doing that for the buzzer system.
And the coaches have all been told.
Several times.
Okay. That's it?
Begin with the start of next year, I've listened to the board talk about their concern that teachers, more so in the secondary, aren't available for students at the end of the day for whatever reason. So I'm recommending that the board consider changing the start and end time for teachers. The student day would remain exactly the same. Currently, teachers come a half an hour early and leave 10 minutes after the kids leave. So if we just flip-flop that means teachers would arrive at secondary at 7:45 and leave at 3:15. That would give the half an hour at the end of the day for kids to see teachers to get help, because they would be here. The kids would already be here. We wouldn't have parents having to run kids, first thing in the morning to get help. So just wanted your thoughts on that.
Was the problem that the kids didn't have access to the teachers or parents?
It was evidently that kids and parents were being told that teachers didn't have time because they were leaving.
They didn't have time to talk to them?
Sure.
Because they were, the end of their day was there.
To work with students.
They make up work or work with students that have problems. Any of those kind of things. I just think it's critical that the teachers be available at some point, either before or after. But both is not something.
Could you do it though where, because they're involved in sports, they can't stay after. They probably are the ones who come early.
Well, they most certainly can stay after, because now practices couldn't start till teachers were available to coach. So
I see.
the practices wouldn't start till 3:30.
What happens to all the other kids?
Well, that would be a discussion for the administration. I'm just trying to find a way to get kids help, and the kids are already here, so they don't have to depend on anybody to bring them. They're here.
I'm sure the coaches tell the athletes though that if they have something that they need to address, if they need attention or help after school, that is the priority before they come to the athletic practice. So I know that the coaches tell the kids that.
Yeah, coaches are good about that. I wonder what our students think.
Lauren or Aaron?
I find it hard to believe that teachers would say that. Every teacher I've ever had has said that if I have any issues to come talk to them after school or before school, just talk in advance and they'll be available for me. So
Well, you're very fortunate because other kids have not been told that.
I don't know about that.
As a parent, have been told that. So I know that it happens.
So I.
It was always worked better for my family, like personally, to be able to stay after school, and I've never had a problem getting teachers to stay after with me. But I do understand like the athletic side of it, like kids have to go to practices, but I guess that always moves back I know parents have to get to work in the morning, and it was always easier for my family to be able to come after school and pick me up.
I understand it works for you, but I know that I don't have any older siblings around. My mom's at work after school, so for families like me, it's way better to come early in the morning because you can actually be dropped off earlier before your parents go to work, instead of having to find some ride home or walk home after school, because it could be dangerous if you're walking home. It's hard to find a ride sometimes. It's just,
I think there's two
It
very
depends,
different sides to
yeah.
the story.
there's really no best time.
How
It's-
hard would it be if we switch it to they stay later, but the need to come in the morning to meet with the student that they can, temporarily switch it back? Is that too much of an
You
administrative
can't,
nightmare?
yeah, you won't be able to do that. I mean, once we establish the workday is established.
And a substantial amount of the students have to ride the buses home.
Yeah.
So their time to meet with the teacher means that they're gonna miss their bus ride home. It doesn't really do them much good, does it?
Right, the elementary bus.
Is that still a possibility for students to ride the elementary bus? I know they used to.
Well, it has happened in other districts. That's not something I've discussed with someone to be.
Yeah, they could, it just depends on which bus.
I've done it a long time ago. It still does.
What about
Used to be called the activity bus.
Yeah.
split the difference?
Transportation is an issue.
20 minutes, 20
Whichever way
minutes.
you do it. You can do it in the morning or you can do it in the evening. And personally, I'm okay with the teacher who picks, I'm available in the morning or I'm available in the evening. But it just has to be available one or the other.
We can't do that. We can't allow, we have to establish the work.
Well, and we do have teachers that would come in the morning. Evidently, Erin hasn't had a difficulty at all with that. So I think this is a good change myself. And the teachers can come early to meet with, they're not saying that you can't come earlier or you can't say, we've got plenty of teachers stay till 5 o'clock at night. So it's a few that seem to.
We have those who come, 6 o'clock in the morning and work with kids. But there's the same people who stay afterwards, they don't really worry about the work. The contracted day. But there are those and, like I said, I've heard this complaint for a while now, and I was trying to set something up that allowed kids access to teachers. Kids were here, there was no doubt that they were here and then they could access teachers.
Kevin,
I thought this was what instructional lab was for in middle school, was for these teachers. I don't know what it says in high school though.
You can't really do that in the high school unless it's a homeroom day. All the other days you have to stay in your class period. So like IL day 1, you can only stay in your first block period. You can't go talk to any other teachers. So you'd have to wait. So if you're struggling in some subject one day, you're gonna have to wait until maybe a whole week later to talk to that specific teacher.
And in that case, you could have 7 kids show up at the same time, and where here, you would work with the teacher and say, I'd like to come on Wednesday or whatever.
The question is, what's the best for parents to access, the morning or evenings? And I don't know the answer to that.
You're gonna have it split.
Yeah.
You could split the difference and have 20 in the morning and 20 in the afternoon.
It's pretty smart.
Yeah, there's not enough
20
time.
minutes is, yeah, that's.
It's plenty. It's better than
10 minutes less than 30.
Figured that on your own.
What a math whiz you are.
It's better than nothing if you can't stay in the afternoon.
It also doesn't push all of your athletic practices 30 minutes later.
I'm having a bunch of kids hanging around with nothing to do while they're waiting for athletics to start.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can go back to the way it used to be when I coached, which was coaches took turns holding study hall and cafeteria for all athletes. So it rotated, for those kids, you knew where they were. Yep. And it rotated through the coaches.
What about the kids that leave early to go for sporting events? I see on the morning announcements a lot of times that there are away games. The kids get dismissed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to go to the away games, to buses and stuff. So they would lose out if it was they wouldn't be able to come in the afternoon to.
Well, it's only on the days of games,
Yeah.
and they're not always away games that they're getting out anyhow.
Yeah, plan for that.
Yeah. I mean, we can leave it as it is. I was trying to respond to a request from all of you.
We should change it.
Hmm?
I think we should change it,
To how?
the afternoon.
What time in the afternoon?
30 minutes?
In the morning, are the teachers rushed to get ready for the day? I mean, do they have time to sit with the student? Or are they too busy getting what they need to get done for the kids to come in?
It probably
Now you're
depends on the
asking a
class.
question that it depends on the teacher. I mean,
Right, some are prepared and some aren't.
some are.
The issue has been in the middle school and the high school, or just the middle school, or?
There's been a bit.
Where's it currently? 45 to
Currently, the teachers, the middle, or the high school, secondary arrive at 7:25 and leave at 2:55. Elementary arrives at 8:15 and leaves at Barb
3:45.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
I was
then,
gonna say-
I don't think it's an elementary issue.
No, but I'm,
Yeah.
But you're just talking about making this change for the middle and high school.
Right.
I was changing both times.
Okay. Just the
Oh, the elementary
changes
too?
and.
Yeah, I mean, I know Mrs. Ridgway has some concerns about changing the elementary, so maybe the elementary teacher's day stays the same as it is.
What is,
What's their?
what's this, what are they?
8:15 to 3:45.
That would push that.
But our students enter the building at 8:40.
time to school.
Which one?
Which one? High school?
High school, the kids get out
2:44.
2:44 is their real time that is reported to the state.
We're holding over an extra minute just because.
That might be, who knows? I just know what the official time is.
What time does it start?
The teacher day or the student day?
Student day.
7:55.
7:55.
7:55.
Well, actually,
So I have a question. Contractually, can you even change their day?
I can.
Okay. Because, I mean, this could all be a moot point, is there something written in there that?
As long as we stay within their 7.5 hour day,
Yeah.
it can be established.
And I totally get that everybody's schedule is different, but just for my own personal, it would be a lot easier for me to drop Erin off early and then go to work, or go to work a little bit late, than try and come back at 3:45 in the middle of the day, because she's missed a bus and not be able to get home.
doesn't she drive?
She does now, but she didn't always.
Well, not when I was a freshman.
Oh, well, you're acting like, I thought you were saying it as though
Starting
you drop her off, and I'm thinking,
That's
there's
another
that little red
example.
car out there, isn't it?
No, but we moved up here in
That's an
fifth grade. Yeah, if she wanted to do anything that was after school, which involved not being able to take the bus home, I had to rely on other parents, I had to sometimes make her walk across the field and go back through the neighborhood by herself, which, you know, I didn't really like doing.
I didn't like
But
walking in.
for however many, just for me personally, it's a lot easier if she's gonna get the bus in the afternoon, to be able to get on the bus in the afternoon, and not have to find an alternate ride home.
But that's not for all the students, right? It's just for the teachers. It's not
But-
going to have any effect on the students unless
It
you.
well, it is, because the teacher is gonna have the time before.
Yeah, I
The bus is
understand that,
already
but also
gone.
how often you meet with the teachers. And I have a feeling the same teachers that are going to object to this 3:15 time are the ones that don't mind coming in earlier or staying after to help a student without any errors stuck on them. I think this is just made for parents and that can come in and talk to a teacher, and the only time they can and get is at 3:15. You know, instead of 7:45. Do you see what I mean? Am I making sense? I think the same teachers that are gonna stay or be there early are those teachers that care and wanna be there to help you. The teachers don't care is what this is made for. The people that when they call and say, I gotta meet with John, because I need some math, can I come in and talk to you about it to make this up? And the teacher's saying to them, I'm sorry, I'll leave here at 3:15. You see what I mean? I think that's what this is all about. And I think
That's
that's,
the reason why she's changed.
exactly, and I think that's the reason it should be.
It's only gonna fix the problems.
So for the problems that you guys were talking about, have the student tried to meet with the teacher before school as well as after school? And the teacher wasn't available before school either, or, do you know what I'm saying?
I understand your question. I don't have anything in this, I don't know. Lonnie and Marcy probably could address that better as far as.
One time, the response I got was, I'm not available before or after school.
Before or after?
That's what he said.
Did you,
And I
did
would
you try
say-
early, or you didn't try, you tried that? So
Well,
my
Sonia-
concern is,
Was it the same
you
teacher?
change this, the parents,
It
the
sounds like-
teachers that have daycare lined up and that kind of thing, that's gonna change their whole, kind of what they're used to. So, I don't know, especially
have
elementary
lives
school,
too.
I think they probably, a lot
So
of
the
those
teachers
friends
have
know
lives
kids,
too.
you
Well,
have
and like you
everybody.
said, we may not need to touch the elementary.
Well, and maybe-
Because they're not where the complaints say.
Yeah, but is this gonna cause a grievance?
Well, you really can't cause
It's
a
a good
grievance because
question.
it's within the 7.5 hour contract.
All right, I'm just checking. 'cause
That's fine.
No,
I
I
have
have to be something
We
else.
haven't had those.
What do you think your teacher, is that fair to ask, is just you? I mean, are your teachers gonna be, for me, I think it would be so much easier to be there early to get things set up and ready for school that day, and I would much rather say, please come in the morning than, or if they needed to stay after, obviously you would stay after just to help because they need help, why
Yeah, but
wouldn't
that's
you
not
encourage
what's
that?
happening.
I
Not
get
just
that,
address
but
And I will say
teacher.
the other thing I have heard from parents is that once they have to go to work prior to the time that
they can't.
the start of the day, they can't drop the kid off and their bus doesn't get here in time, that they can access this.
Right, well.
Maybe we should do like a survey of the teachers, just to see. Do they know about this change coming?
FEA was notified and been notified for over a month.
And what's the feedback been then? Because they would have shared that with the teachers, so.
I don't know. I've gotten no feedback.
Have you
from them.
gotten any feedback?
I have not received any feedback.
I have not either.
Okay.
And Mrs. KB, you had asked about the teachers.
Yeah.
I know my teachers that stay and I know my teachers that leave. So the way the teachers feel, it will be mixed.
Right.
Sitting here thinking about, the parent meetings, when we have our 504 meetings, I know I schedule my parent meetings at 7:25 in the morning. If the teachers aren't there, it'd be a very short meeting at 7:45. They have like 10 minutes. So those meetings would have to be in the afternoon if they're, longer than 10 minutes.
I just have one question. If you would do it in the morning, and I just wonder, with kids that do have to ride buses, if that would be fair to them necessarily, because they don't have any control when the bus gets here in the morning. However, if we could provide in the afternoon another way for kids to get home, if they would be able to ride an elementary bus or in the South Lane, that seems like it may be a little more fair if we provided the transportation or a way to have the transportation. Because then we wouldn't be impacting kids who maybe have a parent home disability, whether they get the ride or not. Just kind of feel like that may be a little more fair to everyone if there was some kind of transportation provided in the afternoon. But if they
You're
ride the
so,
bus in the morning.
yeah, you're so spot on with that. And I'm sitting here thinking, if we're gonna do what's right for kids, that's exactly what we would do. And then I sit here and I think, how much for that track? And we haven't even talked about academics yet. And I'm thinking of all this money, 600,000, is that what it was? It's like, it's crazy. I know this isn't the right time, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'd be glad to share this, the PDE is meeting with our senators over cyber charter funding. I can't help it, I get so worked up over this. They're sitting on $143 million that has not been used for cyber charter schools, and they're not having to give the money back to the districts. How is that okay with you taxpayers?
Okay. get started with this.
Well, you know, the thing is, I don't think people know. Now, Karen's gonna address charter schools this evening, but it just aggravates me that they have such a lobby and we don't. Evidently, we're not getting our message out there that this is not okay. Think what we could do if we had, well, not, we wouldn't get 143 million, but Craig, we could fix the track and do some academic. I just think,
Not the money back that we're putting out for it, just the money we spent.
oh, we would love, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
We could do so much, but, so,
Kelly, I think that's a good point that you made. I mean, the kids could, the parent could send a note, hey, they need to ride the elementary bus would swing in and pick them up, or they could run over to the elementary school, or, you know, if you had the note to send to the elementary school and say, hey, they're riding the bus. I mean, I think you're right, we could make it work better for kids. Then parents aren't responsible for getting up here, you know, if they do work, you know, then the kids could come the regular day and stay after for half an hour or whatever they need.
as long as they have, you know, that would not cost us any extra, you know, to put them on a later bus.
Yeah, that's.
As long as it's not one of the
Maybe
overfilled
it's-
buses.
Maybe it's a little
simpler. I mean, in the case of what you described, I mean, that teacher's, you know, that teacher apparently is not putting in that half hour or that how many ever minutes before in the morning. Shouldn't the teacher be disciplined for that, or
That's what I'm
spoken to,
saying.
or?
Well, you might find that they're here.
But they're not assisting students, and that's not part of the job description. I mean, what do you do about what do you do with a teacher who tells parents and kids, oh, I'm not available at either time? Let it go?
Well, if the administrator knows about them, action would have to occur.
So have you done it?
You would have to have a specific individual.
I think the burden's on the parent. You know, if a teacher tells me they're available for 15 minutes in the morning, the burden's on me to get my child there if they need more help. And if the teacher's available in the evening, the burden's on me to make those plans in the evening. I think that burden's on the parent. But I think that it starts with the teacher being available.
Yeah, I think though, what Kelly is trying to say is we've got parents and emails that they don't care. And they would not make arrangements to come or get their child here or pick them
I
up.
would just hate to punish a self-motivated student who was trying to get the help that they needed, but didn't have support to make that happen. You know, we want all students to be successful, not just the ones who have parents.
The answer is to split it up. A little bit in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon.
What do you think? Patty, it affects your building? If it were, instead of, they had to come in at 7:25. Wait, no,
They
they
would
said,
come at 7:45.
They would come in at 35, right?
45. They would come in at 7:45 and they would leave at 3:15.
but the kids come in at 7:55. Their day needs to be longer. Don't say I said that.
Kids are teachers.
Huh?
Kids are the teachers.
The teachers, you know, so that there's more availability for them to.
I do see it on both ends. Because we do have students who would be available in the morning, and then the students who are available in the afternoon. I see the.
But we can't have a flexible
Right.
time period, but unless you're gonna have teachers sign in and sign out, you know? Well, I'm just saying.
It would be
I
nice
guess
if you could do that, if a teacher knew they were going to do in the afternoon.
Right.
And they came in 15 minutes later and then stayed 15 minutes later. But I know that, right, some teachers would do it the way they're supposed to do it, so, but I understand the night.
Well, now, I'm not trying to make more paperwork, but I do know that there is some kind of paperwork where if you need to leave for an hour or something, you fill out a paperwork, you make that time up, you know? We could have them do that. They could be making up their time in the morning. I know it's a lot of,
I'm not looking for a bunch of extra burden.
yeah, I know.
Well,
Well, that's more administrative.
Well, and it affects more than just, I mean, the kids, the time is for the kids, but there are also meetings that occur in that same time block. And you can't have a, if we're talking about an IEP meeting, you can't have a 10-minute IEP meeting.
So what I'm saying, if we agree and we say, okay, let's move it to where they have a longer day in the afternoon, so that just the highs or secondary, so that we can provide that transportation in the afternoon for the students. So we say, all right, start next year, that's gonna happen, put it out, let them know, and then maybe you'll get some feedback. So then you can bring that back to us. You got plenty of time, another.
So you want me to put out that the high school is going to say,
The
because I have
secondary.
already put this up to FBA.
I know, you said FBA, but I mean, go ahead and
Exactly
say,
at the
this
time.
is exactly what
Okay.
we're gonna, the
Okay.
board, no, I don't know that we're gonna say that, if the board
Okay,
says
so you want
that.
me to go ahead and do
To
that
go
and
ahead
see
and
what
say
kind of
this is
feedback
what-
we get back?
Cause then I think you would get feedback. But I'm not saying, you all have to say, let's do this, or not
No,
do
well, like I said, we can put it out there and that it's being strongly considered.
this. Okay.
And we'll ask for feedback.
I just
Well,
think
then
that-
you get
feedback.
Well, you're not laughing, so it's like a really bad idea.
I just think,
Oh, okay.
I just think it's
I don't
totally
know.
unacceptable that a teacher would say to a
I
parent,
know.
I don't have time to meet with your child before or after school.
Discipline
That's
that
the problem.
teacher.
That's my problem.
Then discipline that teacher. That's all you gotta do. Exactly. Don't have to mess up everyone's schedule.
That's negotiable.
And whether they could get their kid in the morning or the afternoon.
I think the 20
I'll be here. That's the only time it's here, I'll be here.
So how are we ending up here? Because I gotta move on here. I didn't realize this was going to.
We'll get feedback. We'll bring it back to you.
Well, but, okay.
No, no, I agree with you.
If this is like 5 or 6, or 3 teachers, or 1 teacher, I don't think this is necessary. I think that is addressed with the teacher. I mean, do we not have any kind of recourse if there is, I mean, are teachers evaluated, or teachers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I feel like.
To me, that's insubordination. You're not meeting with the
And that's
kid.
what I think that's what really is so. I mean, so I almost feel like if it's really not a real huge problem, because I really can't imagine, even when my kids were here, they would come early or stay late if they needed help with something. So I think a lot of those teachers, I mean, some have retired, but there's still a lot of teachers here that I've worked with that I feel like would not tell.
I think the
students that.
majority of teachers.
So I think, are we going through all this for just 3 teachers or 1 teacher? Or, I don't know,
Yeah,
but if
we
it's
are.
only, if it's less than 5, I think maybe it needs to be handled through those teachers. And
I agree.
then the board would have to support whatever, is the, action to kind of correct that. I don't know, I'm speaking, I don't know what you guys would say.
That's fine. Then we'll leave it
But I think I
alone.
would rather do
The next
that,
thing.
because why, I mean.
We'll leave it alone and we'll ask that if somebody has a specific concern about a specific teacher, then they need to be able to come to an administrator and tell them, because just complain about it out there and not tell us doesn't allow us to do that what you've asked.
Okay, but I think there has been to you guys.
Not me, but maybe. I don't know that.
If 2 board members are saying they've had an issue, I'm hoping they've told. Yeah, okay. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Whatever you guys want to do, but that's what I would say. If it's
Can I
less than
address-
5 teachers,
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I would rather do that.
Teacher, first thing you do is go to the administration, you go change the whole policy.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's not a problem, right? I mean, I think.
I think you do change if it is
Yes.
insidious, yeah, if it's throughout, yes, but you're absolutely right.
But I think
We're
it
doing it
stinks to do it because those teachers that will stay, which is most of probably our teachers, are gonna come in early to meet with the kids that need it early. So now you're changing the whole schedule, and they still can't leave till whatever, but most of their kids come in the morning, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of unfair.
The next thing is the special ed plan, which you've all had a copy of to review. It has been on display, and at the end of the month, it will be on the board agenda on the 25th for your approval. And we will submit it to the state. As I tried to explain in my Friday notes, the whole idea of the comprehensive plan was that all those plans were to be submitted at the same time. That was the state's great idea. And after they approved that and told everybody they were gonna do it, the federal government said, nah, I don't think so. There's a federal law out here called IDEA that says the special ed plans are submitted May 1st, period. So again, that's the only plan that's submitted outside the rest of the plans of the comprehensive plan because of the federal law.
No, it's a special education plan, like a record of what happened in the previous year. Just because I noticed that it was referencing the No Child Left Behind, then we're going to ESSA.
That's embedded in their plan. I can't
Okay.
change that.
Yeah, they haven't caught up with life yet.
I was just
But it's a
curious.
combination of reflection of where we are, where we've been, where we are, and then the last part where it says NCLB reading and math, like those goals, that's their wording. I tried, but. So that's
And
the
they
reason.
would, yeah, well, and they wouldn't have changed it because the SEA hadn't been approved. So. The cyber charter program, you all received costs from Caroline. And I know there were some questions about why would we pay $20,000 for a special education student and only $9,000 for a regular ed? We have no control of those costs. Nor do we have any control of who becomes special ed when they go to cyber school. We may have actually evaluated the student and determined the child did not qualify, and they can go to cyber school, and the cyber school can deem them special ed. We are not allowed to ask, we are not allowed to receive any of the documentation to deem them special ed under their watch. When they come back, sometimes we barely get more than a cover page for the IEP.
Now, how is that okay? Why aren't we just doing something and screaming at our legislators for these decisions that are made?
I don't have enough money for them to listen to me screaming. I know, I've tried.
Oh,
And you have to understand that when students are out there, if they aren't logging on for non-attendance, it comes back to us to file the charges with the magistrate. It's our job to file those charges, even though they're not attending school here. And what happens is, we get, because my name's on it, because I still do child accounting, I file the charges, we go to the magistrate, we stand in front of him with all we've got from the cyber school, which is, Melissa Katie did not attend school on these days. And we say that, and the parents say, oh no, they logged on. We have nothing to prove otherwise, so they throw the case out and we're back to square one. So it's a waste of,
there's no accountability for cyber charter schools. And since their whole inception, they have not passed AYP, except I think one might have. One might have. 1 year might have. Yeah, they're not held accountable. They're not held accountable at all. Yeah, because public schools are held accountable to the state. I just can't believe that this goes on in the Commonwealth. I just can't. It just boggles my mind, you people. I don't know what to do, but we've got to do something. They have a very strong lobby. And in this video I watched of the Senate and the PDE, I didn't realize 77,000 students are in cyber charter schools from Philadelphia School District alone. That just was overwhelming to me. Because I think we have, I forgot, I wrote it down, we have, how many do we have? We have
right here.
We have one special ed in high school. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Okay, we have 39 students, 2 of which are special ed in K through 8. We have 21 students in 9 through 12, 1 is special ed. So we're paying $60,000 for those 3 students. Now, the question came to me, how can we keep them, because we offer cyber charter, how can we keep them from going into the, or what are we doing? I couldn't answer that, so.
And I think actually Pam's question to me was, how do we bring them back? Well, historically, there would be people across the state trying to bring them back. They don't come back. We know that. You can go anywhere and ask anybody who's tried to do that. They just don't come back.
However,
They will keep them from going, which is what we've done by opening our own cyber. Parents do go to our cyber instead of going outside, which, that's okay with us because we aren't paying these enormous prices and we still have control.
but we don't provide a computer for the students.
We do not provide a laptop. They have to provide it.
But wouldn't it be cheaper for us to provide a laptop to keep them from going? Because that seems to
Well,
be
I'm
the.
sure Nate can probably find something now.
But that's been the big thing that so people
We
that
offer-
offer this. Well, we get
Fairfield offers their own cyber,
We do.
or the parent can choose to go to the outside cyber.
That's true. And we always talk to them about ours in-house first.
Right.
And really, I think if Ryan was here, he'd tell you that the majority of the people who were going to go have stayed with us in our cyber. There have been one or two who said, no, we're going out there because some of it is because they get their own laptop. Some of it is because a friend of theirs said that this was a better choice.
Megan's laptop costs $300, sending a kid to cyber school costs how much?
7,000 students.
Karen, what library did we go to that had that special cyber room set up that looked like a hotel?
That was Greencastle. That was the Franklin Learning Academy. Is that what it's called? Virtual Academy, sorry. And they.
Oh, that's the one that was so much different than the.
Well, they've combined with other districts now. Originally, that was just Greencastle on their own, and now they've partnered, almost set up a consortium, kind of like we did with Special Ed.
And he said that helped, right? That helped.
It kept the kids from
Kept the kids from
going,
going to
but
cyber.
as long as they've been doing it, Todd, who runs that, will tell you, they brought very, very few kids back. They kept
But
kids from
even
going.
when they come back, then they're behind.
Correct.
And then now they're on our rolls, as far as our test results. It's just such a.
What can we do?
Well, what you need to talk to your legislators or your senator, Alloway, Tolman, or Mao. We have an election coming up. That's a good time to ask or tell them what you think. I just don't know how they justify tax money. And then and we've had people question our reserve fund that we have, and they don't have any reason to have a reserve fund. They don't have roofs, they don't have, somebody come up with a great idea.
I think contact with the legislators is important. But I think we need some guidance, and I think our president or someone should maybe write a form letter or give us some talking points. When our industry has an issue with the legislators, that's what we did. We developed talking points that every one of our employees can call and say, this, and this. So we all have the same message, and our employees aren't afraid to call because they have some guidance.
Okay, all right, I like that idea.
And I will say, one of the legislators' comment was, he brought up a point about the fact that the cyber school does turn out, 30,000. They turn out a huge group of people at the Capitol when there's a crisis. But they know the public school doesn't do that. We don't access, and I'm gonna say PSEA doesn't do it, we don't do it. We don't, try and rally the public school parents to call the legislators. Like,
We do.
Right, we
We try to
should.
flood their emails while they're in session. So they're getting that
That's a
stuff.
good idea, because the superintendents do that for us, like, you guys at one of your meetings, like, come up with talking points and, I mean, and why couldn't we send a letter home to parents? I mean, like, I took her email and made it big and put it in my budget folder, how many kids, how much money, because I always forget the amount, but I always know it's a lot of, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I never know, like, the student amount, so that was perfect, because I thought, you know what, next time somebody says, I'm gonna say, look. Because it's almost $600,000.
Tell your parents, it doesn't affect our taxes.
Right.
Well,
Well, but I mean, can't we, why can't we share that? Like, let's just, like.
I'd like to put big billboards like they do out and say, it does cost money. Because they always say it's free, it's not.
Right.
You're all paying for
Free
it.
for, well, that's true, right.
Well,
Yeah, the
it is-
fancy around
And
that.
I don't have anything against cyber charter schools. if the state wants to have cyber charter
Right.
schools, then they need to fund
Right.
them. But they're not, they're taking it from the
Right.
local districts,
Exactly.
and then what do we have to do? We have to raise the taxes to be able to
Right.
deal with our own budgets.
Right.
I mean, I just can't even, this boggles my mind, it even
Right.
started out as it got going this way.
Right.
Well, anyway, yes, I like that idea, Lonnie, I think
Yeah,
you're right, we'll put together some talking points and
Our
we'll.
solicitor would be glad to do it, but they charge us for it. We can do it in-house.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if the superintendent, I mean, I'm sure all of you have your points, you
Oh,
know,
they
if
do,
you
they
would give
do.
us some talking
They do.
points and then send these
They've
numbers
heard our talking
home.
points
Yeah.
quite often.
You know, just
But I think it
give the
needs to
people the
come
names, the
from-
numbers, all
Yeah.
the stuff, who to call, what to say, these are some great points, and this is what we're spending. And send that little budget sheet, this is how much money we need, this is how much we're spending you know what I mean, like, let's put this information out to parents.
taxes.
Yeah, right, right.
Cyber has nothing to
No
do with
cost,
me.
right.
Well, now
Yeah,
that's
I
just like, what we pay is $600,000. That's what we pay for cyber charter schools. What are we over here?
Right. Yeah.
$613,000.
Or maybe send a letter home, say, we'd love to fix your track, we'd love to do, we'd love to paint your gym, we'd love to do these things, but guess what, we can't. Because this is how much we have to pay for cyber charter school.
And Gettysburg sends a newsletter, I don't know if it's quarterly or whatever, it's all taxpayers. And it'll have like their budget, their pie chart, and it's, and I used to get it when we lived in Gettysburg, and it's kind of nice to see stuff went. So if you got that, you show them, like, this chunk is going through this way. Cyber.
Somebody's salary.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another issue. Yeah, no, thank you, because their CEO makes 10 times what our superintendent makes.
Just set extra.
To have to do what? What do they do? They sure don't meet with the school board, and they sure don't have to deal with the public. Oh, you guys, come on, we've got to do something. We're gonna do that. We're gonna get those talking points out. So horrible. We're gonna go, what?
Like, it was
You're so horrible. No, you're not. In fact, I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you. Can we send that on to parents? All right, we will do that. We will do that. Tell your friends and your relatives. that
Well,
you-
we get that.
We are.
little
We're gonna
note,
do
copy it, and shoot it out to everybody. See, that's a good idea. Do that.
Well, that's right. They need to. All right, we're gonna move on.
Put it out away.
Yeah, I've just provided you, just for your information, the cost of sixth grade camp the last 3 years, just for your information for the future. Because that may be a line item in the budget, and you need to be aware of really what the cost of camp has been.
Was 13 the welcome?
Yes,
You know?
yes.
How many days do they go to camp now?
Well, they're there 3 days.
Oh, yeah, the senior.
That's more so.
Was Nawaqua longer, do you remember? Or was it the same?
That's the same on that.
Oh, okay.
This has been 3 days, 2 nights, 2013, 14, 15. Okay, so if we're comparing the same.
Right.
Apples to apples. People, give me apples and
I
oranges.
understand. Okay, policy, administrative procedure. We talked about, the first thing you had was I'd given you the current guidelines for electing a school board representative and a proposed change based on the idea of opening it up to the entire junior class and going through a process to assign, to give those people. And I gave you the questionnaire on the back, which currently they do not have to complete.
Who's the WASHS?
Yeah, that was me. I stole that question from another district and I didn't change it. I like that
Waynesboro,
question,
very
so yep, it was, I stole it from Waynesboro, that question. And look, we had actually gone out and asked all the superintendents what they used. And I had a whole list in front of me and I really liked that particular question. When I typed it, I typed exactly what I saw.
Could I see a copy of this? New potential.
Well, didn't we already discuss this?
And I've been asked to bring it back up, so that's why it's here.
I think we discussed it, it just never went anywhere.
Right,
We wanna kind of put
we
it in
approved
hand.
the policy that established the positions.
Right, okay.
And then I was asked to, bring back the idea of what I thought it should look like if it was for the entire group, for the entire junior class.
Is the policy this 4.1?
Policy is 4.1 and that, no, that's actually guidelines for that policy. The policy is 4.1, which is in your packet of stuff you had approved a while ago. And if you saw your email today, I cut and actually pasted that into the email today, so you had the policy.
So basically, the only difference now is it's offered to the entire junior class instead of just the student council representatives.
Correct.
The process.
And they're.
Well, actually, the process is a little more thorough, yes.
Yes.
They would have to fill out this questionnaire, or that's not something they had to do before.
Yes, and they would all have to do what they've always done, which is to get the 30 students, the 2 teachers, the resume. We kept everything else the same, except we added that. So we could see their ability to write and explain why they really, wanted to do this.
I like it any more.
Has it always, how long has we had a student representative on the board, and has it always been from the student council?
We've had them for what? Jan, do you remember when this first went on the board? I want to say maybe 4 years ago.
My daughter was the first.
Yes, sure.
Was
Yeah,
she
it's
part of
very
the student
Or
council?
junior year, which
Correct.
would have been when?
Years ago.
3 years.
Her junior year was my freshman year.
It's like 3 years.
Yeah, that
Was she part of the, was student council representative?
That's because she was under the old guidelines.
Yes.
So that's how it's always been.
Since it was established.
I think your committee is appropriate, and I think your committee is choosing the person in the end anyway. So I don't know why it shouldn't be open to the entire junior class.
Well, wasn't it chosen before by the person that handles this student council, Mr. Rich? Was he the one that made the final selection?
I think Brian does. Doesn't
There was
Brian?
a discussion among Brian and the student council, yes.
And between the
And
two of
Brian's
them?
quite, just so you know,
He's
he
involved.
couldn't be here tonight, but he is quite, he
Yeah.
is supportive of this, so. that's
Yeah,
just
he's,
so you
he's
know.
very involved in the choice
Yes.
too, or has always been.
The other thing this does is open it up to more kids. Because now you have a total of 10 kids to choose from, where this will open it up to the entire class.
I trust that you guys are going to choose the appropriate.
I agree.
I agree.
Becky?
Sound good to me?
One thing I don't like between the current policy and the guidelines is that in the guidelines, it's written that the students can't speak unless they're asked to by the board president.
Mhm.
And in the
Actually,
current policy, it says
and
they
actually,
can be
just
asked
so
to
that
by-
came out of the old guidelines, so we can change that.
Any board
Currently, it
member
says
should
any
be
board
able to.
member can ask the students to speak.
Oh, yeah, I have an issue with it, but I wrote exactly, that part I copied exactly from our current guidelines, so I don't have an issue changing that to yes, by
Any
board member.
Yeah.
No problem.
If we have a question, it's appropriate just to ask them a
Yep.
question. I don't think we should send smoke signals to Pam.
That's fine by me, like I said, that part the top part I took exactly from what currently is there.
The part in the guidelines where it talks about a junior, will speak the application and have the opportunity to speak directly to the entire junior class as to why they should be as a candidate, is that to be able to get the appropriate number of signatures on the petition? Or the class doesn't vote them in, so why are they speaking for the class?
exactly.
There will be a vote
Well, why do you need
based
another
on
vote when you already have the
who
vote for student
meets the
council?
criteria for the
Let's
vote.
go check it
So
out.
they will complete all this, meet with Mr. McDowell, and let's say Pam and Lonnie both applied, and for some reason Lonnie hasn't completed or doesn't meet the criteria.
What's that have to do with speaking in front of the junior class?
Oh, he would. What?
I'm sorry, I still don't understand why the candidate would be speaking in front of the entire junior class.
So that they are like any other voter, they are listening to the people in front of them, so they have
But
a.
the,
Why do we
the
need
class-
another vote when we already have the student council vote?
but the,
But it may be a student that doesn't want to be on student council, but
Well,
would
then-
want to be a.
Or did
Well, that doesn't make sense to-
the junior class isn't voting on the person to be the senior representative, are they?
Not the senior representative, only the junior. That's an automatic rotation.
So it's the class that's voting in this person, it would not be where it is now, where it's the student council and the, Mr. McDowell. The class, so it would turn back more into, it wouldn't be the administration making the decision, it would be the students making the decision.
Based only from the people that were given to them by the administration. So they're gonna review all this. If you haven't done everything, all the steps you needed to do to complete, to get on the ballot, for lack of a better word, you're not gonna be on the ballot. So if somebody really wants to sit in those seats, is gonna have to do an awful lot to get there.
So the administration reviews and the students vote.
So the administration reviews all the candidates and then comes up with the number of maybe 5 potential. And then the 5 potential go and stand before the junior class. And then the
Know
junior
why they
class-
wanna be on the, why they wanna be their student rep.
and
Kind of
then,
like a
and
presidential
then only the
election.
junior class gets to vote for the, it's a student representative for the whole school, it's not just the junior class.
No, but the junior
Right.
class is representative that was established and because it's a 2-year term, the whole idea was that the junior moves up to be a senior, so there's always that
Right.
experience.
But
So
why
that's
does
why
only
it's
the
the junior class.
get to vote on who's gonna be the representative?
So the 30 signatures come from the student body or the junior class?
The junior class.
Her arm's gonna fall.
It might fall asleep soon. I'm trying not to be rude, but does the student council, they meet, right?
Yes.
They have meetings
Yeah.
and the student council members are on those meetings. And the purpose of their being a rep is for them to come back from said meetings and report on what they're doing. So I don't understand how somebody who's not on student council could actually represent accurately what is happening with the classes when they're not part of that. The other thing I would say, not that I'm trying.
They're still a part of the junior class.
But they're not
But they're
part
not
of the student
part-
council.
They come, like when I've heard them speak, they come and say, we're doing this fundraiser, we've got this many tickets sold for an event, we're planning for this. Like, those are the things they're coming and reporting about. And a student who's not involved with student council isn't gonna have that stuff to share. Not that I don't think other students should be able to speak, I absolutely do. But any student can come in here and speak on any given night. And the only kids I see here are mine.
I don't think they can.
Why couldn't they?
Maybe this person, if they are not on the student council, they go to the student council meetings.
But why
Maybe that
wouldn't they want to be
becomes
on student council if they're a
Look,
student representative?
We've had other
We
students
want to open
speak.
this up to the entire student body. Maybe they don't get elected. Maybe there's like 8, there's,
Well, then that
there's
means that
10
the
seats.
students don't want them to represent them.
This,
What-
that's for their class. This is different. We have 10 seats. There may be 15 kids that run, and maybe all 15 of those kids are very good and could do the job perfectly. Doesn't mean that we can restrict them from this as well. If we're trying to open it up to anybody who's interested, I don't see a problem doing that at all.
I don't know if I can help or hurt, but I know like as far as those people that are members, it's a very competitive of picking and choosing what you belong to as far as groups in school and when they meet and all of that. So maybe somebody who couldn't be a part of, give that much time to like say student council and attend all their meetings because they're maybe the same time as like the Art National Honor Society or Art National Honor Society or all the other activities that are going on. So they might not be able to do student council, but could do something like this. Does that maybe clarify why they might not be able to be a part of student council, but may be able to do something like
I
this?
think so. The point
They should
being
make it a
that
priority.
a kid that's not on student council wouldn't have the same information that a kid that wasn't on student council. That's a valid point. I think we need to look at that and say, could a kid that's not on student council make up that gap in information somehow? If so, how would they do it?
Like,
just like
since we're on
tonight,
student
where
council,
we
we
had
know
that
what's
question.
going on.
Right, but
Yeah.
tonight we had the question about the teacher schedule. So they can interject in that. A student not on student council can interject in those kind of things as well.
Yeah, but like the student representative reports, we get information. we
Right.
can-
And the other thing is, I don't think that most places, those seats aren't just about the high school. They should be.
Well, we're not
reporting on
most
anything the
places. We're
district is
Fairfield.
housing more kids.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
I don't have a problem if they're not on the student council.
I don't either, unless there's information that we would need in this meeting that they wouldn't have.
Well, like the reports that we give, most of the information is from what we get in student council. And they're just not gonna have that because they're not in student council. They don't go to the meetings.
So you mean other students that are not in student council don't know what's going on in the high school?
A lot of the times, yeah. They don't know like what we're planning, how
Well,
we're
shame
planning
on you
everything.
student council people.
Don't you have to turn this back on me.
Well, no, but who's supposed to be informing the students though?
That doesn't mean they listen. They're high school students. They don't care.
Well, okay.
Then they wouldn't care about the school.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
if
say,
somebody's
those
gonna go
students
through all-
are gonna wanna be, in the.
So if this person listened, they would have the information that we needed.
Or if somebody's gonna go through all of that to be on as a rep, they're gonna take the job seriously enough, I believe, to find a way to get that information
Yeah,
somehow.
but that doesn't mean that their peers want them to represent them.
Okay, I say,
Vote for them, they do.
hey, why do you,
Yeah, if
don't
they vote for them to
those
vote them
people,
on to
but
student
listen,
council, then they want them to represent them,
This
obviously.
is something I think that really needs to go back to the administration. That this is something they should be deciding, not us. You know, because we're not gonna always agree on everything, but we do really need to move on.
Okay, next are the policies. Again, these policies, when we had the special ed on this year, a lot of these were not in place because they're new, they're requirements. And the auditor was understanding the fact that we were working with the SBA to get them in place. So what you have in front of you is number 103, which says non-discrimination in schools and professional practices. This is a brand new policy. We had no policy such anything like this in the past. So that is exactly the policy that is now meets the requirements for the state. The 103.1, which is non-discrimination qualified students with disabilities, again, is a brand new policy. We never had anything like it in our policy. And it's strictly on criteria on how to qualify students. Number 113, again, is new, but actually we did have a policy. This updates our policy 5230, which was from 1996, just so you know, to comply with the new statute. So this is
I have a question on this one.
okay, and it actually also deleted 5240, which is, yes, ma'am, what's your question?
I have a question on the recording of the meetings, because I was under the impression that it was parents' right to audio record IEP meetings or whatever. It might have been with, prior request. But this is saying, well, only if they're not gonna be there or they have limited English proficiency.
No, I think they have a right. They have a right to record, as long as everybody knows that it's being recorded.
I've
No,
never
it doesn't.
had to record a meeting, but
Right,
I'm
right.
just saying, I was under the impression. I could be wrong.
I don't think,
You can
because
check with the solicitor.
I will check with the solicitor, but the fact that this came out of PSBA and their lawyers, I can't imagine it's wrong, but I will go back to them and I will check on that.
But I think you have a right to record any meeting that you attend.
I don't think you have a right to record IEPs because of the nature and you can't control where you go.
Oh. The people themselves, though, of the students, don't have a right to record of the meeting of their own students?
Because of the nature of the discussions that may occur there.
Do you want the answer?
I will check on that.
Yeah.
Do you want the answer?
Give
What is
back
it?
to us too.
Federal law does not prohibit a parent or school official from recording IEP meetings. State departments of education or school districts can require, prohibit, limit, or regulate the use of recording devices at IEP meetings.
So PSBA is making that recommendation to protect the school.
Okay, but
So
they do
PSBA
have
tends
the
to
right
do that,
to
they take whatever it is and make it a little more strict. So you know.
So do you want me to check with our solicitor as to whether or not they?
No, do you have the answer?
No,
Well-
she's got the.
If you want to change it, then we would need our guidelines on what that wording should be.
What they're saying, Becky, is that what's written in here is not the way it has to be. It doesn't have to be that you have to stipulate within those two rules about whether or not you can argue, because what Mrs. Cohen said, you can take it.
Well,
that's
federal law. This is-
Federal law.
This is probably Pennsylvania statute. Pennsylvania law may be very different. It's very different when it comes to special ed.
It's very different when it comes to subjects.
Well, special ed, we know it every now and then. So do you want me to check into that, or are you okay with that? Number 113.1, disciplining students with disabilities, again, is a brand new policy. We should have had this in place and we did not. 113.2, again, is a brand new policy on behavioral supports. And again, this is one we should have had in place a long time ago. Yeah, I was. Well, the last audit, we were okay, because the one we had was, what we had to deal with behavioral support was good enough at that time. Since then, it has changed. 113.3, screening and evaluation for students with disabilities. This is updated to provide the process clarification and complies with current statutes. So that's the change. We did have policies like this. 113.4 new confidentiality. Confidentiality of special ed students. Again, this is a brand new policy. Our former policy strictly was on confidentiality across the board. This is specific now to special education. And 114, gifted education. This is a brand new new policy based on caseloads and statutes that have changed.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
I started reading through these and I can't.
You go to sleep?
Well, no, that's part of the problem. The discipline of students with disabilities.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think I read it that this is the one that's 113.1. They never were allowed to be expelled.
That's correct.
Okay, but this looks like they can be. No. Did I read it wrong? I was reading through because I wanted to see if it had changed. Because sometimes I feel like there is, I don't know how to say, but like they really do.
Are you talking about page 3 under changes in
yes.
educational placement?
Yes.
Where it says exclusions?
And not.
No, I was talking about the top. Well, that's really definitions though, but, oh, so maybe that's just the definition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they still can be? Is that, I mean, is that
They
right?
can't be expelled. It becomes a change in placement. We have to educate. We don't have a choice. Meaning that they're educated in this building or in this district.
You have to provide that free
We have to
public
provide something.
education, but it
Right.
doesn't, we can with input and all that kind of stuff, suggest it be elsewhere.
Up to age 18?
21.
21.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, and then, all right, I thought we, goodness. So then they can be, if they, all right, so we place them somewhere else. Can we still keep them off the grounds and that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm. We
Okay.
can do that.
All right, I wasn't sure if
Yeah,
that all.
that's trespass, that's completely different. And we have done that in the past. Where we've had a student, and we'll say we had a student with a weapon who was identified, went elsewhere to school, but had no trespass, weren't allowed on, at any activities or weren't allowed on school grounds for any reason.
All right, okay, that was it. Thanks.
Any other questions about these? Another very exciting reading. I've asked for that we enact, you have agreed in the policy to have a standing committee for policies. And at the rate that I'm getting policies sent to me from PSBA, since they've redone our entire book, I can't imagine you want to spend hours every work session going over all these policies. So I need another meeting, but I recommend we have a policy committee to actually review the policies, do whatever recommend changes locally that we want to do, and then give the board the agreed upon final draft.
And that committee is Melissa and Pam, chaired by Lonnie.
Oh, Oh, no.
All in favor?
Lonnie, Gary?
Yes. He's good at this. He's really good at this. Right, Melissa?
And he is good.
I was a policy chair the last 2 years.
I know that.
And you've got the experience. No, you've got the experience.
That's fine.
We're inexperienced.
Can he be the committee?
Can he be the committee?
Never needed like to be inexperienced.
And she and I would like to meet in the morning.
Oh, good.
Committee chair is a delegator.
Oh, great. Maybe I should be the committee chair. Go ahead, Melissa. I'm working last after. Go ahead and be the chair. In order for us to get the preliminary budget approved early in May, so that maybe you can approve the final budget in June, before the last possible drop-down date, I'm asking that we change the May 9th work session to move it to 6 o'clock and add a regular board meeting after that, we would be presenting the preliminary budget for approval. And then that would also allow us to change the June 13th work session to 6 and add a regular session at 7 o'clock with the idea that hopefully that'll be to approve the final budget.
And this isn't getting rid of the later two, the second two meetings each month, right?
For May, no, for June possibly. If you have an approved budget, the 13th of June, then we could actually cancel the last one in June if that's what the board chooses. And that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, right.
Any questions here? Okay, Sarah.
Okay, we have that. So, Josh gave you some, farm to table information, which has been sitting on our table since the farm show. And I've been sitting on it because I wanted to give it to somebody here, but I wanted it to not get lost. I would love for you to invite the gentleman who does that program to come here and speak at a board meeting. And what he does amazing things. He will help our cafeteria staff. Like, he's already gone out and found people in the local area who, farmers and markets and stuff that have fresh local produce that also meet the guidelines required by the federal government and already have completed the forms and everything, so that they're good to go for the schools to purchase the food from them. And he's got them all, he does all that. The other things he does is he also, if he comes in and talks to a cafeteria staff and they say, well, we're not doing fresh cauliflower because it just takes too long for us to cut up. Well, he'll come in and do classes with the cafeteria staff and teach them ways to prepare this stuff in a quicker, more efficient way. I would really love to see them come in here and work with us. I think there's potential cost savings and also an opportunity to really give our kids more food. He also said that part of his job is to help facilitate gardens in schools. And he said there's a grant that he can very easily help us get, like $5,000, to immediately start a gardening program at the school. That's thing one. Summer school, I know April's going to address this further, but I have to say I still think summer school is very important. I am upset because apparently my daughter oldest wouldn't even be eligible. We don't do summer school for age from third grade to fourth grade. I'm not sure why we decided that they don't need help too, but I think they should, and I think it should be open to all students in the district, unless we get to the point where we just have too many, and I don't see that happening. PSAs or PSSAs. I think this district really needs to look at how they're handling this for the students. My daughter is sick from the stress. She is so stressed. She has been talking about it now for 2 to 3 weeks solid, about how her teacher's going to get in trouble and lose her job. The state's going to come in. All these things. They are so stressed about, I have to do good, Mommy. I have to do good. They're going to have breakfast for us, and I haven't seen a spelling test in 2 weeks because I guess they're prepping for these tests. And she's 8, and I'm telling you what, I'm this close to saying she can't take it because there's no reason to put kind of stress on an 8-year-old. I remember being in Pennsylvania. I was a Pennsylvania kid. I went to Pennsylvania public schools, and I remember it. And I had headaches the whole time. The kids are going to do what they're going to do. This is terrible that they're this stressed out about this test. Say something to them the week before, review the stuff, do it. We know this test's a load of crap anyways.
I want you to add that when you call your legislator. I want you to add that
testing on there.
This testing is a load of crap anyways. We know that now. The results came out last year.
You're speaking to a choir here.
They-
You need to get
they
on
rigged.
your legislature.
The results are rigged. So it's ridiculous. I'm here again videoing. Please, can this district please take over video? Tonight, now, I wasn't here to video last time, and so people haven't gotten used to me really regularly being here to do it. I put it out on Facebook. 9 people have watched this entire meeting. That would fill up your chairs here. I would be watching. I cannot always be here. I am more than happy to do it when I can, but I cannot always be here. Please, people do want to participate. There are sporting events, and that's 9 people watching it live. That doesn't mean how many people come back and watch it after the fact. You can go back and see how many views our videos have. It's tons. People want to participate. We need to do that. And the playground, I'm wondering where the playground's at, the kindergarten playground, because we haven't done anything with that. And I'm wondering about the cyber school numbers, the numbers that were given. Does that include private school and homeschool as well, or is that just cyber school? Just cyber school. I think that the district needs to do a better job of advertising our program, our in-house program. Yes, I think we need to advertise it. Put signs up, because the other cyber schools are. So one breath you might think you don't want to do that because we don't want to convince our kids to leave, but the other cyber schools are doing that. We should be advertising ours that it's here. We should be doing the information session twice a year so parents can come check it out and see what it's all about. And people should really know, because there are even people on this board, I think tonight, that said, we have a cyber school? So I think we need to do that. Okay, sorry, whatever. I'm trying to talk quick.
So it's budget time, and you're all crunching numbers, trying to decide if we're gonna fix doors and tracks. And Pam, I know you're on board, because I just heard you say earlier that we need to talk about academics. And summer school, like Sarah touched on, is crucial for that gap in the summertime, for the kids that didn't quite get what they needed from the grade, and they need a little extra help before the next grade starts. I think it should be for every grade, from kindergarten all the way up until they graduate. We didn't have it last year because the funds weren't there. The funds were spent anywhere but there. And we need to get our funds, and I ask and beg each and every one of you, when you're looking at these budget numbers, to please make sure that our kids get a chance for some rehabilitation education during the summertime. It's crucial, super crucial. Ms. Kugler and I have gotten together a few meetings with the reading specialists about summer school. The cost is not horribly high, but it is really crucial. And she's got a little bit of money set aside and some little title money over here. It's not enough. And it really would exclude a lot of kids that would benefit that just don't meet certain guidelines. So my biggest beg of you, please look at your budget and figure out what's the most important. I hope it's education and academics, but I know you guys. So on a side note, I got to meet Mr. Jim Duffy at the Franklin County VOTEC, which was really awesome. And they're getting ready to start a dental assisting program, which I am now sitting on their occupation advisory board, helping them develop this program.
How about
So
that?
I'm really excited to help.
Congratulations.
But it is Franklin County, it's not Adams County. Now, Mr. Duffy did offer that if our students wanted to go to Franklin County VOTEC, we just had to get them to Waynesboro and he'd bus them the rest of the way.
Did he also tell you the price that he wants to charge? Just wanted to know that, because I've asked that question a couple times.
So it is available, whether I know finances and I'd rather see summer school, but I thought that was an interesting side note. And I did get a chance to kind of look at the programs over at the Gettysburg Tech program. I have some concerns with when kids are going into a VOTEC program, that's not their end all. Some kids it will be, they're looking simply for a vocational job. They want to make $20 an hour and that's their ambition, and that's great. But these programs need to be geared towards college education credits. And I know some of them are, some of them aren't. So when we're looking at a veterinarian tech program that I heard a couple of months ago,
what college credits are they gonna earn from that? And what's the pay when they get out? Is it gonna help pay for college when they get out? Are they gonna be able to work part-time? And with vet tech, the answer is no. They're gonna make minimum wage. I can learn that job on the job. And I can get paid whether I went to a 6-week course or whether I went to a 2-year VOTEC in high school. I'm gonna get paid the same amount. So we really need to look at these programs as to the benefit after high school for our students if they're going to take this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
The question about taping the meetings, I know that when Mr. Krubig was here, he used to tape the meetings, but then for some reason we weren't able to get it onto the website. Is that something we can look into now that we have a new technology?
Well, there's a difference between what Sarah asked for and that. Sarah's talking about streaming, live streaming.
Well, but
That was-
it archives it though immediately, so it
Right.
doesn't go away. It's available.
But yeah, but what Ms. Perry did was actually
Yeah.
film it for us.
Right.
It wasn't streamed anywhere. So
Right.
I actually did, just so you know, Sarah, Nate and I did have that conversation this afternoon. So he is looking into, you know, what
I
what
can
equipment
share.
you need.
I can share.
There you go.
She's a good resource for you.
Actually, she's one of the ones we suggested you talk to this afternoon.
Okay.
Mount St. Mary's.
Oh, right, absolutely.
Okay, well, Lonnie.
Not to back up to the whole discussion about teachers' time in the day, but when I asked you guys to take a look at this, I wasn't thinking at all about shifting times from morning to afternoon, or I was thinking about adding time to the day. Just a little bit of time. And in my mind, I was thinking that teachers probably get bogged down, they get burdened. In the morning, they're probably trying to get ready for their class. In the afternoon, there's probably another student that's waiting to talk to that teacher. And then maybe another one. Maybe there's not time for that last student at the end of the day to talk to that teacher. So in my mind, I was thinking, why not go to an 8-hour day for a teacher? I work an 8-hour day, or 9 or 10 or 14.
Okay, that's a kind of contractual thing.
Okay.
And they're in negotiations now.
So anyway,
maybe next time.
I just want to give some background.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I was thinking when I asked you guys to take a look at that. So if we aren't going to change the time of day they're working, or the amount of hours they're working, I think the burden of making sure that that program works goes back to the administration. I think it's an administrative duty to make sure our teachers have time to meet with our students. I don't think we should be relying on our parents to make sure that happens. I think that burden's on you guys.
Did you tell me you want us to drive somebody touches my anymore?
No, not, I want you to make sure that your teachers
Oh.
have time.
Are available.
Oh, I agree.
They're
Teachers
available.
need to be available.
And have some process that measures that.
Okay.
Do we need a motion for that, or we're just okay with it?
No, we can't.
No, we're not in a meeting, we're in a work session.
And I think the student rep should be an honorary member of the student council. Just a thought.
Or some way to fully communicate.
I think that.
Or they can just be voted for in the student council. Suggestion, great, thanks. Thank you all. I just want to put in the matter. It's been very stimulating.
If you have these results and you haven't thrown out yet, I'll get back to you.
No, it's okay.